Hey y'all, welcome to Paige's Perspective, where I help you find your inner strength to cope with life. No one wants to be the villain, right? A couple of years ago, we released a shirt on our website that said, "In my villain era." It wasn't about being mean or cold or cruel or hateful or anything like that. It was about giving spouses and partners permission to set boundaries and take care of themselves and to do the hard things that might upset someone who somewhat benefited from their lack of boundaries. Look, I understand why it's really challenging to set boundaries with our partners and spouses. We've discussed this multiple times on the podcast, but when you start changing, it can feel threatening to people who were comfortable with the old version of you. And then suddenly you're the villain in their eyes. So recently I was wearing that shirt, listening to Like a Villain by Bad Omens while working out, and something clicked for me. I realized I needed to reframe this for myself. I might be the villain to some of you when I challenge you. You know, you might hear me talk about taking care of yourself, setting boundaries, getting uncomfortable, and you might feel annoyed with that, maybe even pissed. And I get it. I used to hate being challenged when I wasn't ready. But over time, I realized that those moments that stung were usually pointing me towards something I needed to look at more honestly. It was something within myself that I needed to address. So a lot of people find this podcast when they're discouraged, they're confused, they're lost, or feel like they don't recognize themselves anymore. And if that's you, you're not alone. I have been there. I've had to crawl my way out of some really dark seasons when I didn't even know a way out existed. You know, there was at one point when Matt became the villain in my story. You know, he told me he would take the kids and leave if I didn't get my shit together. And at the time, that felt devastating. But looking back, you know, it was one of the greatest gifts I was ever given. That boundary forced me to get out of my own way. Boundaries are powerful motivators for people who are willing to respect them. Remember, boundaries are for you, not for them. If you are interested in learning more about boundaries, and we did an episode series, 3-part series a couple of years ago. I don't remember the numbers of them, but search them up and you'll find them, and they're really, really helpful. Get started there about boundaries. And then I think I've done some Paige's perspectives on them as well that might be helpful for you to understand really what a boundary is. Because I know in this day and age, we see things all the time of set boundaries, do this, do that. And it's like, well, what the hell does that mean? Well, we break it down for you. So if you come into this space and you feel challenged or even want to cuss me out, go ahead, cuss me out. Cuss me out for saying something, you know, that you're not ready to hear. That's totally okay. I'm willing to be the villain in your eyes if it helps you move forward. I know what's on the other side of this work, and it's fucking worth it. I'm okay being the villain in your eyes because one day you might thank us, because there's other people in the community where you might be like, yeah, that stung a little bit, but you're going to thank them one day because they have some insight that you may not have recognized. So we don't want to just survive, right? We want to thrive in this life. We're not here to just survive. And a lot of us get stuck in survival mode for a long period of time. And there are times where it'll go up and down within your life. You may have like a week or a month or something where you're feeling like you're in survival mode, but we do help you get out of that. But thriving isn't about getting the perfect outcome or the relationship turning out the way that you hoped for, right? It's about getting out of your own way and building a mindset that can carry you through any outcome. Thriving requires challenge. It's hard. It's not that easy. We have to change our habits. We have to change our thought patterns. We have to do things that are different, that are uncomfortable. It asks you to do things that feel uncomfortable and unfamiliar and sometimes even scary. It's that even if mentality though. Even if this relationship doesn't work out, even if things don't go the way I planned, even if I lose my job, even if I lose my house, even if I have to grieve what I thought my life would be, I'm still going to be okay. I will still show up for myself. I will still grow. When you look at people who have done hard things, you may not want their relationship outcome, but you probably want their mindset, right? The way they trust themselves, the way they handle uncertainty, the way they don't crumble every time life throws something at them. That mindset is what gets you through anything. Without it, you stay stuck in survival mode, constantly reacting, constantly bracing for impact. And this is why I don't separate our community calls based on whether you're with someone in recovery, in active addiction, or out of the relationship altogether. That space isn't about your relationship status. It's about you. It's about personal development. It's about self-trust and learning how to lead your own life again and reclaim yourself and love yourself. When you see someone who has gotten out of an unhealthy situation, they're not threatening your hope. I know it might feel that way, but they're not. They're showing you it's possible. They're proof that you can survive things you're afraid of and come out stronger. Their insight matters, even if their path isn't the one that you're on right now. If we only group people based on similar circumstances, perspective gets limited. It can quickly turn into the blind leading the blind, where everyone is validating the same fears without anyone showing what it looks like to move through them. Sometimes when you see the other side of it, you gain a different perspective, and it's actually more encouraging and empowering because you see what it took to get them there. Now, connection with people who are in a similar place absolutely matters. Okay, feeling less alone is powerful. Shared experience can be incredibly validating, but growth often comes from listening to people who are a few steps ahead, people who have already walked through the fire and can tell you what the other side actually looks like. Thriving doesn't come from staying comfortable. It doesn't. It comes from expanding your perspective, strengthening your mindset, learning from people who remind you of what you are actually capable of, even when you don't believe it yet. The things that feel hard right now are often the things that are going to benefit you later. Okay, this is another part about self-care that I have talked about so much, but I can't not talk about it because these are the basics. So the setting boundaries, again, we've talked about that before. Applying what you're learning, taking care of your body, breathing, journaling, reading, moving your body, eating, hydrating, resting, pausing. You know, some people come here thinking that I'm just here for my marriage, or I'm here to understand addiction, but the tools that we talk about apply to every area of your life. These basics, the basic self-care, it's not fluff. They are how you're going to build resilience. They're how you're going to rebuild yourself. Like, you have to start somewhere, and that's what we're talking about. And let me say this clearly, that self-care is not self-indulgence. Yes, there's a place for enjoyment. Yes, but real self-care often feels unfamiliar and uncomfortable, especially when you're used to taking care of everyone else first. It's not going to feel really, really good. You might feel selfish, but it's necessary, and it will get better over time. I promise. I went through that same phase for a while. But yeah, I'll be the villain if that's what it takes, guys. Like, just know it's coming from someone who's been where you are and who believes deeply in who you can become. This is all from a place of love. This is why I'm here. This is why we share our experience, is to help you find yourself again. You know, I want to take a minute to shout out the Reclaiming You group. They didn't just hear the challenges, okay? They actually ran with them. This past week, listening to the growth and the wins people shared was incredibly moving. We asked them to reflect on this past year, and some people had the worst year of their life, but they got through it and they came out even stronger. You know, the work creates real hope, not just for a relationship, but for your life. It's so much deeper than the addiction, the relationship, and all of that. It's about your life. And I know starting something new can feel really scary. You might feel nervous. You might not know what to expect or wonder if it's actually going to help. Been there, get it. But the support and the guidance and the community inside this program, it can be truly life-changing. And I've watched it happen. You know, Reclaiming You is only 2 years old. It's still young. It's a toddler. But even in that short time, it's already changing so many lives. You know, I get emotional thinking about the people who came in feeling completely defeated. They didn't want to speak up. They just listened. It was a very scary time for them, and they have blossomed through some of the most difficult times in their life, and they are finding themselves again. They're showing up differently. They're handling hard things, you know, with more clarity and their self-trust. And it's beautiful to witness. You know, I don't push our program too much. I understand that it can't be for everybody, but we do offer a ton of free resources for those who are looking for some type of change and challenge. You know, that's the community. We have weekly or daily, almost daily calls. There's a few days throughout the week that we have in our Facebook community. They're member-led. They're by volunteers who have gone through some things, and they're able to really hold space for you. So if you're interested in that and you're a listener, you can check that out in one of our links. We just have the boundary of you have to be a listener to be in there, to keep it a safe space. But everything that I've witnessed and the things that I've seen this past week and the way people show up in the group and in the communities and in our discussions with Reclaiming You, our Wednesday calls, it's proof that the process works. And I'm so excited to continue watching people reclaim, who they are and what their lives can look like. If you're interested, and we have people in all different areas. There's people who are still with someone in active addiction. There's people who are in early recovery. There are those who have left. All perspectives matter. It really is a beautiful space to be. So if you're interested in the program, you can learn a little bit more at reclaiming-u.com. Watching the vision that we had from the beginning come to life has been really incredibly meaningful. But let me leave you with this, okay? If you feel broken right now, if you feel unsure, exhausted, or like you don't even recognize yourself anymore, I need you to hear me out, that you are capable of so much more than you think. You are so capable of doing some really hard things to be who you want to be. You're not waiting to be rescued. You're not missing something everyone else has. You're not gone too far. You can save yourself. And saving yourself doesn't mean that you suddenly have all the answers or feel confident overnight. It means that you're taking one uncomfortable step. You're trying one new response. You really do start telling yourself the truth one more time than you did yesterday. You start doing the gentle self-care. That's another episode we did a couple of years ago. If you're in survival mode and not really sure where to start, check out that episode. That's how people change their lives. It's not with the perfection, it's with willingness. We just have to be willing. Okay, so if I challenge you and it pisses you off a little bit, that's okay. If something I say rattles you or makes you want to push back, I'm good with that. I'm okay and willing to be the villain in your story if it means that you finally see what you're capable of. Because I've watched people feeling completely defeated and go on to do things they never imagined they could handle. And I've seen people survive years they didn't think they'd get through. I've seen them grow, rebuild, and find themselves again. That strength is not reserved for a special few people. It's already in you. And if my role is to challenge you until you remember that, then I'll gladly wear the villain label every time. I'm okay with it. Just remember, it's all out of love, and we're all here for you. But that's all I have for this week. Until next time, I'm Paige. Bye.